Hi, welcome to Par Breakers Golf Academy in Oaks, Pennsylvania. I'm Bernard Sheridan, and today we're going to work on swing plane. We have a couple of devices here that are going to help you understand a little bit better on how swing plane works. I'm going to give you an insight onto some of the things that better players do and that actually is a hindrance to their swing. I'm going to also give you some insight on what amateurs do and what's a hindrance to their swing. So a lot of players have different tendencies or thoughts that they think should happen in the swing. And this is going to give you greater insight into exactly what should happen in the swing. So today we have a special device. This is a laser device. And what this laser does is give you a better visual of what's going on with your swing. So that this way, you're in the proper positions. And when you get to the top, you start to feel what's going on. You have proper muscle memory, and then you can repeat it. The great thing about this product, and we actually carry this product at our eBay store, and in our facility here in Oaks, is that you can use this product to get instant feedback, and it's really helped a lot of my students. So when we set up, and remember we talked about recently the proper setup position and how to find the proper ball position in your stance. You're going to do exactly what we spoke about there in that video, and that is to square that club face up behind that ball with your hand ahead. And the great thing about this laser here is it points right where you want it to point. You can see it's pointing right here, right at my seam here, or the first belt loop on my front leg. Okay. Now, first thing I'm going to show you is what better players have a tendency to do. Okay. Better players have a tendency to want to get the club very much inside and to get really quickly inside. All right, and then they start to do what's called lay the club off. Now, if you notice over here, all right, you can see that little laser just beyond the mat there. That means it's on the other side of the line. That's not a good thing, okay? So if I get very laid off, I'm going to have a tendency to get the club stuck behind myself here, okay? And when I get stuck behind myself, as I start back down, I'm outside that line now, okay, which means my club head is not going to want to come from the inside. If my club head comes from the inside, I have to drop it very quickly, and I'm never going to be able to close it fast enough, okay? And it's way out ahead of me, okay, which means it's going to be what's called a push. So when a better player ends up pushing the ball, that's what he does. Now, if he ends up what's called pulling the ball, he'll do this. He'll get very much inside. The club is outside the line. It's very laid off. He'll get stuck behind himself. He'll clear his hips and get over the top, okay, and then outside the line, all right, and then straight down inside because he's trying to get the club back inside. He's struggling, and the ball gets pushed to the left. So these are two things that better players do. Now here's what not as good players do, okay, and they have a tendency to get very handsy on the takeaway. All right, so when they get very handsy, the club again gets outside, or they'll try to lift it straight up now. Now the club's very much inside the line. Now, as they start back, instead of turning their hips, clearing their hips to get into the downswing, they'll start down with their arms, okay? And the club will get very steep and inside. The butt of the club will get very steep inside the line, and then that throws the head outside the line. Now they try to hold it off. They don't let it release. Okay, and that's where we talked about the proper release drill. We had videos on that also, and you want to check those out because that'll help you there. The club gets well out ahead of them. Their body is still hanging back, and the ball slices and goes to the right. It's another thing that we don't want to have happen. So this is what we want to have happen. We want to keep that butt of that club still pointing at that belt loop as we get halfway back, and that shaft is going to point at that target line. So here we have another special device, okay, and what we did was, this is something that I put together for my students so they can greater understand how this works, okay, and I use this in a lot of lessons, and then I also use this, students like to purchase this for the fact that this is something that I put together because I'm also a custom club builder. So what I did was I took a shaft and I added 2 grips to it. I put one of these lasers at either end. Now they can see where the shaft is going, okay, as it goes down the line. So if we set up here, that shaft's going to want to go right down that line, okay? I can still take that thing down that line, all right, with just my hands. So if I get handsy, that's where it is. But look at if I cock where that laser is, it's really inside. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to turn away with this. It's a shoulder turn, as if I was shaking hands with my neighbor. Okay, I'm going to turn away, and that butt is pointing still right there. Okay, and you can see it on my hand, right at that belt loop. Now all I have to do is cock my wrist, and it goes right down the line. That's a beautiful thing. And notice also too, the flying elbow never happens. Okay, if I get like this, okay, and I take the face down the line, and I want to go straight up, look at that. See that flying elbow? Now I'm in baseball mode, all right? Which means I'm going to have to cut across that line to get back in, and that's not good either. That causes a slice or a pull. Okay, so what we want to do is keep that thing in front of us, all right? We cock our wrists, we go to the top, we're loaded up, we clear our hips, and we let our arms kind of come near our body. That shaft, that butt of that shaft wants to go right down that line. Now we're clearing our hips, and now we can come right down the line and roll that thing over and bang again. Here we are again as we finish through, and that butt of that club is going right down the line. So this is how swing plane works. I hope this was a greater insight for you, a better understanding of how the swing plane works and how to get into proper positions. Here we are at Par Breakers in Oaks. Stop down anytime if you live in the Philadelphia area. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Thanks for being with us today, and I hope that this gives you a better understanding of the swing plane.